a song of sixpence, a pocket full of rye, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. When the pie was opened, the birds began to sing. Wasn't that a dainty dish to set before the king? The king was in his counting house, counting out his money. The queen was in the parlour, eating bread and honey. The maid was in the garden, hanging out the clothes, when down came a blackbird and pecked off a nose. Sing a song of sixpence, a pocket full of rye, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. When the pie was opened, the birds began to sing. Wasn't that a dainty dish to set before the king? They made such a commotion that little Jenny Wren flew down into the garden and popped it on again.
Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers three.
Bobby Shafto's gone to sea, silver buckles on his knee. He'll come back and marry me, bonny Bobby Shafto. Bobby Shafto's bright and fair, combing down his yellow hair. He's my love forevermore, bonny Bobby Shafto. Bobby Shafto's gone to sea, silver buckles on his knee. He'll come back and marry me, bonny Bobby Shafto. Bobby Shafto's bright and fair, combing down his yellow hair. He's my love forevermore, bonny Bobby Shafto.
Hands clap, fingers wriggle, arms wave, thumbs wiggle, toes waggle, heels thump, legs run, feet jump.
Ride a cock horse to Banbury Cross, to see a fine lady upon a white horse. Rings on her fingers and bells on her toes, and she shall have music wherever she goes. Down a quiet country lane, deep in the roots of an old tree, lived Country Mouse. One evening, he was surprised to see his cousin Town Mouse coming down the lane to visit him. "Look out!" shouted Country Mouse, as he saw an owl swooping down to grab Town Mouse. He pushed him into a ditch, and the owl flew away. What a fright they both had. "Welcome, cousin," said Country Mouse. "You'll love the country. It's so nice and quiet." After a while, Country Mouse made a big supper, but Town Mouse did not like the thick mugs and plates or the plain food. At bedtime, Town Mouse did not like his little straw bed. It made him scratch and sneeze. "I can't sleep," called out Town Mouse. It's too dark and quiet in the country." So Country Mouse gave him some candles and a hot drink. Every morning, Country Mouse was busy finding food for the winter. "Come and help me, cousin," called Country Mouse. But Town Mouse did not like the work, and he did not like getting his hands and clothes dirty. One morning, they crossed the meadow to find some mushrooms for tea. The horse who lived in the meadow came to make friends with the mice. But Town Mouse was so surprised, he fell head over heels into the wet grass. "Ow! I don't like the country," sighed Town Mouse. "It's dark, it's cold, it's wet, and it's too quiet." "Oh, cousin," said Town Mouse, "I am tired of the country. In the town it is warm and dry, and there is no need to look for food. You must come and see for yourself." Later that day, Town Mouse saw the family at the end of the lane getting into the car to go to town.
Bye-bye.
"Come on, Country Mouse," he yelled. "Let's go." They hid in the car and jumped out when they got into town. Poor Country Mouse had never heard so much noise or seen so many lights. They soon arrived at the house where they were greeted by Town Mouse's family. How big the house was! It was all too big for Country Mouse. Town Mouse and his family began to feast on fruit, cakes, chocolate and cream. But it was all too rich and sweet for Country Mouse, and he could hardly eat a thing. It was soon bedtime, but Country Mouse did not like his soft little bed, and he couldn't get to sleep with all the light from the street lamps flooding into his room. Next day, Town Mouse and a tired Country Mouse went for a picnic in the park. But the ducks and geese ate all their food and chased them away. Back at the house, Country Mouse was almost sucked into the carpet cleaner. He was a very unhappy mouse. If this was not enough, he was saved from a trap by Town Mouse and his family. But they were seen by the cat and had to run for their lives back to the hole in the wall. That night, Country Mouse dreamt of the country and the smell of the earth and the trees. How he wished that he was back at home. In the morning, when Country Mouse woke up, he was surprised to see a big, brightly decorated tree in the room. It was Christmas, and there were lots of parcels under the tree. Town Mouse was standing on top of a large hamper in the middle of the room. "It's going near your home," cried Town Mouse. Country Mouse could at last go home. He said goodbye to his cousin and crawled into the hamper just as it was being put into the van. Country Mouse jumped out of the van as it passed the lane where he lived. Suddenly he heard the church bells ringing. It was Christmas Eve. Country Mouse ran to the church. He knew all his country friends would be there to sing carols. "Come, Country Mouse," said the smallest mouse. "You can spend all Christmas telling us all your great adventures." Country Mouse smiled. All he wanted to do was forget.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty
Hector Protector was dressed all in green. Hector Protector was sent to the Queen. The Queen did not like him, no more did the King, so Hector Protector was sent back again.
Ring a roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down. The King has sent his daughter to fetch a pail of water. A tissue, we all fall down. The bird upon the steeple sits high above the people. A tissue, we all fall down. The wedding bells are ringing, the boys and girls are singing. A tissue, we all fall down.
There was a crooked man, and he walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house.
Hush my baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Down will come baby, cradle and all. Hush my baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Down will come baby, cradle and Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. I'll tell you a story about Jack and Ori, and now my story's begun. I'll tell you another of Jack and his brother, and now my story is done. The animals went in two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in two by two, the elephant and the kangaroo, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain. The animals went in three by three, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in three by three, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in three by three, the wasp, the
Inkety, minkety, munkety, muddle. The Lord Mayor of London has stepped in a puddle. With his collar of gold and coat of red, they've carried him home and put him to bed.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. When the blazing sun is gone, when he nothing shines upon, then you show your little light. Twinkle, twinkle all the night. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your tiny spark. Could he see which way to go if you did not twinkle so? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you in the dark blue sky you keep, while you through my curtains peep, and you never shut your eye till the sun is in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Up Jack got and home did trot as fast as he could caper. Went to bed to mend his head with vinegar and brown paper. Jill came in, how she did grin to see Jack's paper plaster. Mother vexed did smack her next for causing Jack's disaster.
There was a small girl called Maggie, whose dog was enormous and shaggy. The front end of him looked vicious and grim, but the tail end was friendly and waggy.
I saw 3 ships come sailing by on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw 3 ships come sailing by on Christmas Day in the morning. And what do you think was in them then on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day? And what do you think was in them then on Christmas Day in the morning? Three pretty girls were in them then on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. 3 pretty girls were in them then on Christmas Day in the morning. One could whistle, one could sing, and one could play on the violin. such joy was there at my wedding on Christmas Day in the morning.
Clap your hands, 1, 2, 3. Place them down upon your knee. Nod your head once and twice. Keep as quiet as little mice.
5 plump peas in a pea pod pressed. 1 grew, 2 grew, and so did all the rest. They grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and never stopped till they grew so plump and portly that the pea pod popped.
Oranges and lemons, say the bells of St. Clement's. You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin's. When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Stepney. I do not know, says the great bell of Bow. Old Father Baldpate, says the slow bells of Aldgate. Pokers and tongues, say the bells of St. John's. Pancakes and fritters, say the bells of St. Peter's. 2 sticks and an apple, say the bells of Whitechapel. Kettles and pans, say the bells of St. Anne's. Brickbats and tiles, say the bells of St. Giles. Here comes a candle to light you to bed, and here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
Once upon a time, there was a shoemaker and his wife. The shoemaker worked hard, but he was very poor, and each day he and his wife became poorer and poorer. It was not very long before the shoemaker could only afford 1 piece of leather to make 1 pair of shoes. That evening, he cut out the pair of shoes from the leather and left them on his bench to stitch the next morning. The shoemaker and his wife were very sad, for they knew that they would soon be penniless. Early the next morning, the shoemaker went into his workshop to stitch the leather that he had cut. To his surprise, however, there on the bench was a pair of shoes, all ready-made and perfectly stitched. The shoemaker picked them up and ran to show his wife, who said, "Who has made such a perfect pair of shoes?" But neither he nor his wife had any idea who had made them. The very same day, the shoemaker sold the shoes to a lady. She was so overjoyed with their quality that she paid the shoemaker twice the usual price. With this money, the shoemaker was able to buy enough leather for 2 pairs of shoes, which he cut out that night, all ready for him to stitch in the morning. Early the next morning, the shoemaker went into his workshop to stitch the leather that he had cut. But on the bench were 2 pairs of shoes, beautifully made, with not a stitch out of place. The same day, a man came to the shop to try on some shoes. When he saw those 2 perfect pairs of shoes, he was so pleased that he bought them immediately and paid the shoemaker twice the usual price. And so it went on. 4 pairs, 8 pairs, 16 pairs, all perfectly made, whilst the shoemaker and his wife were asleep. The shoemaker soon became famous for his beautiful shoes, and he and his wife grew to be very rich. Yet they still had no idea who had made the shoes for them. So, one evening, after the shoemaker had finished cutting the shoes, he and his wife decided to stay up and see who it was who helped them. They hid themselves in a corner of the workshop behind a long curtain, lit a candle, and then waited quietly to see what would happen. Just as the clock struck 12, the door of the shop opened with a creak, and in came 2 tiny elves. They were dressed in old tatty clothes, and their feet were bare. They were unaware that they were being watched by the shoemaker and his wife. The elves began making the shoes that were cut out. They worked so hard and so quickly that they had soon finished. Then they ran quickly away. The next morning, the shoemaker asked his wife, "How can we thank these little elves for helping us to be so rich and happy?" "Why don't we make some clothes for them?" said his wife. "Their clothes are old, and they haven't any shoes." The shoemaker and his wife both agreed that this was a good idea, and in the evenings that followed, they began to make the elves some new clothes. The shoemaker chose the softest leather that he could find to make some little shoes, whilst his wife made 2 little white shirts, 2 green jackets, and 2 pairs of trousers to match. As a final thought, she also made 2 little caps and knitted 2 pairs of white socks. It was Christmas Eve when the clothes were finished. The shoemaker and his wife laid the clothes out on the workbench and then hid themselves, as they had done before, and waited for the elves to come. As usual, on the stroke of 12, the door opened with a creak, and in ran the little elves, ready to begin their work. But there were no shoes to make, for there were only the beautiful little clothes laid out on the bench. The elves couldn't believe their luck. They chatted and laughed as they quickly changed into their new clothes, and before long they were ready. They joined hands and danced around the room, finally dancing happily out of the door. The shoemaker and his wife never saw the elves again, but they remained rich and happy, and never forgot those little cobblers who brought them such fortune.
Baba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master and 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master and 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane.
Through the teeth, past the gums. Look out, stomach, here it comes.
I went to the cupboard, and what did I see? 1 lemon, 2 oranges, 3 apples, 4 pears, 5 peaches, 6 plums, 7 bananas, 8 cherries, 9 strawberries, 10 raspberries, and up on the shelf, all by itself, a birthday cake for me.
Little Bo Peep has lost a sheep and doesn't know where to find them. Leave them alone and they'll come home and bring their tails behind them. Little Bo Peep fell fast asleep and dreamt she heard them bleating. When she awoke, she found it a joke, for they were still all fleeting. Little Bo Peep has lost a sheep and can't tell where to find them. Leave them alone and they'll come home and bring their tails behind them.
Moses supposes his toesies are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. For nobody's toesies are posies of roses, as Moses supposes his toesies to be.
Here is the church, and here is the steeple. Open the door, and here are the people. Here is the parson going upstairs, and here he is a-saying his prayers.
Little Jack Horner sat in a corner, eating his Christmas pie. He put in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy am I."
Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we clean our teeth, clean our teeth, clean our teeth. This is the way we clean our teeth on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. This is the way we wash our hands on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we brush our hair, brush our hair, brush our hair. This is the way we brush our hair on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we clean our shoes, clean our shoes, clean our shoes. This is the way we clean our shoes on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we chase the dog, chase the dog, chase the dog. This is the way we chase the dog on a cold and frosty morning. to school.